To This Day by Shane Koyczan. When I was a kid, I used to think that pork chops and karate chops were the same thing. I thought they were both pork chops. And because my grandmother thought it was cute and because they were my favorite, she let me keep doing it. Not really a big deal. One day, before I realized fat kids are not designed to climb trees, I fell out of a tree and bruised the right side of my body. I didn't want to tell my grandmother about it because I was afraid I would get in trouble staying somewhere I shouldn't have been. A few days later, the gym noticed a bruise, and I got sent to the principal's office. I was sent for another small room with a really nice lady who asked me all kinds of questions and life at home. I saw no reason to lie. As far as I was concerned, life was pretty good. I told her whenever I'm sad, my grandma gives me karate chops. This led to a full-scale investigation, and I was removed from the house for 3 days until they finally decided to ask how I got the bruises. News of the silly little story spread through to the school, and I earned my first nickname, Pork Chop. To this day, I hate pork chops. I'm not the only kid who grew up this way. Surrounded by people who used to say that rhyme about sticks and stones. And back and bones were the names we got called, and we got called them all. So we grew up believing no one would ever fall in love with us. We'd be lonely forever. And we never meet someone to make us feel like the sun was something they built for us in their tool shed. So the ragged heartstrings bled the blues as we tried to empty ourselves so we wouldn't feel nothing. Don't tell me that hurts less than a broken bone. That ingrown life is something the surgeons can cut away. That there's no way to metastasize. It does. She was 8 years old. Our first grade, grade 3, when she got called ugly. I got moved to the back of the classes because we were being bombarded by spitballs. The schoolhouse were a battleground where we found ourselves outnumbered every wretched day to stay inside for recess because outside was worse. Outside, we have to rehearse running away or learning to stand as statues, giving no clues that we were there. Grade 5, they taped a sign to her desk that read, "Beware of dog." To this day, despite a loving husband, she doesn't think she's beautiful because of a birthmark that takes up less than half her face. Kids used to say she looked like a wrong answer that someone tried to erase and they couldn't get the job done. They'll never understand that she's raising 2 kids whose definition of beauty begins with the word mom. You see your heart before they see your skin. She's only ever been amazing. He was a broken band strapped onto a different family tree. Adopted. Not because his parents were offered for a gift of destiny. When he was 3, he became a mixed drink of 1 part left alone, 2 parts tragedy. Started therapy in 8th grade. Had a personality made of tests and pills. Lived up hills like the mountains and the down hills where the cliffs force-fist suicide. Tidal weight of antidepressants and adolescence of being called Popper. And in front of these hills, 99 parts of the cruelty. He tried to kill himself in grade 10 when a kid who said home to his mom and dad had the audacity to tell him, "Get over it." As a depression is something that can be remedied for any kind of being first aid kit. To this day, he's a stick of TNT lit from both ends. Could describe to you in details the way the sky bends in the moment before it's about to fall. Despite an army of friends who call him an inspiration, he remains a confrontation piece between people who can understand. Maybe his attempt being drug-free has less to do with addiction and more to do with sanity. We aren't the only kids who grew up this way. To this day, they're still being called names. Classics were "Hey Stupid," "Hey Spaz." I'm trying to say every year. And to hear it, to make it sound. This background noise and soundtrack stuck on repeat. They'll say things like, "Kids can be cruel." Every school was a big top circus tent, and And the pecking orders went from acrobats to lion tamers, from clowns to carnies. These were tunes ahead of who we are. We are freaks. Lobster crawl boys and bearded ladies. Oddities, juggling depression and loneliness, spin the bottle, kiss through the parts of ourselves to heal. But at night, while the others slept, we kept the tightrope. Yeah, we practiced, and yeah, some of us fell. Some found all this shit, all debris left over when we finally decided to smash things we thought we could be. You can't see anything beautiful about yourself. Get a bit of mirror. Look a little closer. Stare a little longer. Because something inside of you teaches you keep trying. Everyone told you to quit. You built a cast around your broken heart and you decided yourself. You decided they were wrong. Because maybe you didn't belong to a group or a clique. Maybe you decided to pick you last for basketball or everything. Maybe you used to bring roses and broken teeth to show and tell, but you told, how can you hold your ground when everyone around you want to bury it beneath it? You have to believe that they were wrong. They have to be wrong. Why else should we still be here? We're learning to cheer on the underdog because we see ourselves in them. We stemmed the root planted in the belief that we are not the ones called. We're not abandoned cars stalled out on some highway. And if in some way we are, don't worry. We only got out to walk and get gas. We're graduating members of the class of fuck off. We made it. Non-faded echoes of voices crying out names will never hurt me. Of course they did. Our lives will always continue to be a balancing act that have less to do with pain and more to do with beauty.